Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
Meat is meat.
This is episode 209, recorded February 15th, 2024.
Gruesome Magazine.
Hello. I am your host, Doc Rotten. That was Jeff flying by. And this is a podcast about horror movies released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. Let me introduce my co-host, starting off with the wonderful Jeff Mohr.
Meat's meat and man's got to eat. They left part of that off, but that, I guess it took another 9 years for them to come up with that.
Okay. All right. Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan. He's a writer, director, published author, and special effects guru, and also an all-around nice guy. What's that book called?
It's called Raum, R-A-U-M. From Falstaff Books.
Falstaff.
And
get your
it's funny, as soon as you said meat is meat, my cat took a nip at me. Like she took it to heart.
Like it was a cue, right? Like, time to do it.
Demonstration.
Also joining us tonight is Chad Hunt. He's Comic Arts, co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era, the 80s, and of course here on the 70s, and also a director and writer of his own accord. So that sounded weird. Janitor. Chad, how you doing, sir?
I am far from excellent, but better than good. Somewhere in the middle there.
That works. That works for me. All right, Jeff. Before we get what we're here to do tonight, let's get that out of the way. We're going to review or take a look at The Mad Butcher. We're going to share our thoughts about what we think of the film up front, and then we're going to get into discussion about the film, the music, and the actors and all the shenanigans that go along with it. And then after that, we'll get into some feedback. That's what the show is lined up for tonight. Before we get into all the gory details, Jeff, you have something to say about Play Now Media.
Absolutely. We partner with Play Now Media, and in fact, they carry the Decades of Horror video podcasts on some of their streaming channels. And in fact, this is all in fact. No lies here. Decades of Horror of the 1970s is on the Wicked Horror TV channel. But strangely enough, we'll have to get them to jump this over. The Mad Butcher was on the Classic Horror Movie channel, which is also a Play Now Media channel.
I watched it. That's
check them out. It's lots of good stuff.
And that's one of the few places you can actually find this movie. So they don't just have the same ones you see everywhere. They've got a couple of obscure ones that you got to dig around.
True. And which one did we do not too long ago? And they actually had one of the best resolutions of all the that was on Tubi and YouTube and everything else, and that they all kind of sucked, and the one that they had was really good.
Yeah, there's been a few of them that the only place has been on the Play Now Media stuff, and that's where I think this is the only place I could find it and watch it there. After Jeff helped me correct my own faux pas.
Well, they on the app for Fire TV and stuff like that, they actually have a category called Classic Horror that you've never seen before.
So, there you go.
That's pretty cool.
Excellent. Yeah, so you can subscribe, and then you get commercial-free movies with premium content. If you don't subscribe and just sign in, you'll get movies with ads, kind of like Tubi or Crackle or some of those other ones. And you might be missing might not be able to see the premium content, but it's still a good deal. Anyway, look at it.
Mad Butcher was premium content, by the way. All right. Speaking of subscribe, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons for this podcast. Each click will help us find more horror fans just like you. And just like us. We're all horror fans. It's a horror fan. All right, let's move on. Let's find out what our first impression of the Mad Butcher was back in the day or back in the week. What?
You want to do that before the details?
No, I don't. Let's go through the details. Thank you, Jeff. I was going to invert that for some reason. I don't know why.
I hate to do that for
But
nothing.
my brain's working backwards today. No, I was going to do it after, but let's do it before, so everything makes sense. The Mad Butcher, 1971. Although I think in the States we didn't see it until 74, maybe. Director is John Zerley, better known as Guido. I like Guido. The screenplay is by Dick Randall. Written as Robert H. Oliver and Dag Mullen. The story is by Charles Ross, also known as Carl Ross. What is it up with all these aliases? All right,
I don't know. Yeah,
cast includes Victor Buono, which there's a funny gag at the end of the film. But hey, there you go. Franca Policello. I'm going to say it's Policello. Brad Harris, Dario Michaelis. Karen Field, Lucas Bartelli, and Hansi Linder. Production company was Hi-Fi Stereo, 70 kg, Neptunia Film, and Regina Films. The countries of origin are Italy, West Germany, and Austria, and Monaco. Monaco, really? All right. Filming location was Sensita Studios, Rome, Vienna, and then Vienna, Austria. Sorry, semicolon. I see it. Release date was January 21st, 1971 in Italy. We got it in May of 74 here stateside. Also known as La Stranglatore di Vienna in Italy, which is the Vienna Strangler. Meat is meat in the U.S. Carniceria human carnage in Mexico. What's the German one? Jeff, I always like to
Burger kommt auf Leisensachen.
Yes,
what Jeff said.
Comes quietly. I don't know quietly.
Strangler comes quietly. Yeah, he's a regular ninja. Victor Buono.
Light on his feet.
Cat-like.
Heavy on everybody else's, but light on his. Otto is released from a mental hospital and returns to his job as a butcher. He accidentally kills his wife during an argument. And to hide his act, he turns her body into sausages and sells them. As the popularity of his sausages increases, others disappear and end up as meaty treats.
Other people.
Oh my God. I could say that synopsis all day. That is the funnest synopsis. All right, now back to where we were. Who picked this, Jeff? Was this your pick? Or was it Chad's?
I think it was mine.
Sounds like a Chad pick.
Was Chad pick?
Yeah.
All right, Chad.
Defend yourself.
Chad, when did you first see The Mad Butcher? What was your first impression? And does this movie hold up today, sir?
Hold something, I'll tell you that. This is the first time I've ever seen this, and I was just scooting around the Classic Horror Channel trying to figure out something to watch. And I said, "Oh, this has got Victor Buono in it. I've never seen it before." Victor Buono, he does some good stuff, man. He's in Batman 64 as King Tut and
Funky Tut,
Man from Atlantis.
Oh my God,
Mr. Schuster and that, and I loved him in all that stuff and everything else I've ever seen him in. This is a strange film. And it gave me vibes of Little Shop of Horrors. Like it was supposed to be a whimsical kind of not very taking itself too seriously kind of thing, but at the same time scary, and horrific at the same time. And I think that works as far as that goes. It's not on the level of Little Shop, but if not for Victor Buono, this movie would not have worked for me at all. He brought a little something to that character that even though you could barely hear him at times talk, but it's still a very strange movie. And I tried to find reasons why he would ever do this movie. He was doing things around this time like the Planet of the Apes films and other things, and a little bit later the TV show stuff. And so it's beyond me. I can't figure out why he would choose to do this film, but maybe because it kind of showcased him, the character kind of showcased him a little bit. But yeah, it was okay. Not great, but it was okay. It was a lot of silent scenes where nothing was happening, and stuff like that. But it was just okay to me. It was just a weird, strange little movie.
That's pretty accurate. A weird, strange little movie. All right, Bill Mulligan, when did you first see this? What did you think of it, and does it hold up today?
Well, I saw it about 5 days ago, so it holds up. I think it still is
after the 5 days.
Hasn't really diminished itself in my mind. So, okay, here's the thing. One of my least favorite genres for film would be European sex comedies, because they are almost universally not funny and not very sexy. And except that they usually have some very good looking European women completely naked, but the scripts are so bad I just feel sorry for them, which is not the effect they should be going for. So yeah, this one would be right in that category, except for one thing. It's got Victor Buono, and I love Victor Buono. I know exactly why he took this picture. Chad, you got it right. He did not have movie star good looks. He was never going to be the lead role in anything Hollywood was likely to come out. But here they did. And if they did if he was the lead in a horror movie, they probably would actually make him the secondary character anyway and have the handsome hero who rescues the girl as the lead. But here he got to show what he could do. And you can't take your eyes off him. He's delightful. He was in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, with some real powerhouse actresses there. But when he's on the screen, you're looking at him. He's unique. He's, just completely unique. He's got that cherubic quality, and yet you can very easily imagine that there's some danger going on behind it. Just really good. I'm always happy to see him in a movie, even if it's brief, like Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. He just commands the screen. He left us way too soon. So he's fun, but the movie, just, when he's not on the screen, I'm not interested. The music, as Chad brilliantly pointed out to us before we got here, is Thomas the Tank Engine. It's completely inappropriate to a movie about involuntary cannibalism, but they were going for this. I don't know. It's weird. It's an odd little film, and I can see where they had trouble marketing it. What exactly were they going for here? So I don't know that I would highly recommend it to people, but if you are a Victor Buono fan, you got to see it. You absolutely have to see it, because he didn't get a lot of chances to show himself in the lead, and he's great in it. Just the movie doesn't do him justice, I don't think.
That might be a good way to put it. Jeff, what is your first impression of The Mad Butcher? When did you see it, and does it hold up today, regardless of when you saw it?
Pretty recently, sometime within the time when Chad picked it.
I bet. Did you watch it more than once?
I did. Only because we rescheduled like 3 times. And my brain just can't do it. Just because I wanted to see. I wanted to see Mrs. Kuntz and her goofy, what was that on her lip? I mean, she had like a mustache drawn on, like an eyebrow pencil drawn, a mustache on half side of her mouth or something. Did you see
it? Looked like a hairy mosquito smacked into her face.
Wow. What was that? Anyway, the woman that the reason he was in the insane asylum, because he hit her with a 2-pound piece of veal.
Yeah.
Anyway, Victor Buono. Well, you said it, Bill. It actually nominated for an Oscar for Baby Jane.
Yeah.
And he's very memorable. He's one of those guys that I don't know how many things I've seen him in, but you only have to see a couple and you don't forget him. And then you remember him after that. He's great. Yeah, the music was it's like some weird, like fairground jaunty
ragtime
and
band.
supposed to be just what you said, like some kind of weird European sex comedy is the sound, but and to the event of him, feeding people into his meat grinder and sausage maker, they go in and whole parts and come out encased in sausage. Anyway, yeah, and it's hard to find information on this because the actors, I don't know any of the actors. The one of them I thought was kind of fun, but he's not given credit in IMDb or on the screen, and I couldn't figure out. His name is listed in the credits on IMDb, but not what part they played. So I guess I don't know if his name is listed in IMDb. There's names listed and there's no pictures. And I searched, I couldn't find pictures. Who's playing this guy? And the pictures for the movie aren't labeled either. So it's just the Mad Butcher. Anyway, so yeah, it's an odd little thing. It's a typical movie like this that's got like half a dozen names and dozens of posters, and they're continually trying to find a way to sell it or resell it. It isn't. I didn't find it painful. I kind of enjoyed, and it has a nice little twist there at the end. But anyway, Victor Buono is really the main reason to watch this.
takes a leap at the end.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, this is a movie, one of those movies that I don't know, you know about as a horror fan growing up in the 70s and 80s. You know about it because you see a picture of it or a poster of it. It's always a Victor Buono. Nothing else ever. I don't remember seeing anything else from this movie other than Victor Buono looking like a mad butcher, which the title. I'd never seen it. Until Jeff showed me where it was and helped me get to it. I didn't know where it was. I didn't even know I could see it, but it is described as a dark comedy, and that's probably more adept to what this movie is than a horror picture. I mean, yes, there are killers and there's implied grossness with the meat, but it's pretty tame in that respect. But at the same time, I don't know. There's kind of like this bad movie, but it's fun quality to it because it is kind of bad. Victor Buono goes a long way of making this movie, very watchable. But some of the things he does is so strange. Some of the sets feel like they're like on a stage instead of in real life, and then other ones obviously are. It's really weird. Like when they go into the butcher shop, it just feels so disjointed from everything else in the movie. It doesn't feel like it's actually a part of it. So I don't know. If you watch this movie for Victor Buono, and he does carry it. He's fun and choose the scenery as only he can. I don't want to say I liked it, but I'm kind of like in Jeff's camp. I didn't dislike it. And it certainly does not hold up today's standard. The music alone is what makes it just awful. I don't know. I'm trying to, like, in my brain, I was thinking during the entire watching, like, if I was at a drive-in and this was one of the films, or at a double feature at the local, single theater that's down the street or something, right? What would I have thought of it? And I have no idea what I thought. It was so weird and bizarre. But I'm glad we're doing it at the same time. There's been others that I've gone, why did we even get close to that? But this one's fine.
Well, it was Victor Buono, like we've been saying. Watching him, I think he's one of the best actors, and just watching him was the enjoyable parts. Because I think Bill said before, or I can't remember who said this, but when he's not on the screen, I'm not really interested in what the other characters are doing. But when he's on screen, that's where you want to see what he's going to do. So he kind of He drives the movie, and
wasn't the American from like the Chicago Tribune or something?
yeah, I hope so.
Right.
Hanging out in Vienna.
Yeah, just he was like a foreign correspondent,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was all about this story because nothing was happening, and he wanted to have something to write about.
Yeah.
And this little,
And then there was the woman behind the shades. You know.
yeah, the woman behind the shades.
That-
That was so weird, and then the wife was so weird, and like, what is going on here? Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
And
if he wasn't in it, it wouldn't have been worth watching, I don't think, at all.
Yeah. No. It's definitely made for him to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it supposed to be like, the barber?
Like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
like Sweeney, take on Sweeney Todd.
I mean,
right?
it is similar in the idea that, we've had cannibal movies, but here it's people are not meaning to be cannibals.
Yeah,
So
just
it's very much
just kind
like
of,
Sweeney Todd.
just kind of shoves those two characters together, right?
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd and
Although he's doing it more to cover up a crime, whereas Sweeney was kind of doing it because he, I don't know, enjoyed.
Well, he wasn't. He was giving them to what's her name to make her meat pies.
meat pies. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I kept thinking of that too when watching this.
And wasn't there a Hitchcock, Alfred Hitchcock Presents one where like the woman kills her husband with a frozen leg of lamb and then serves it to the police when they come to investigate the crime?
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I'm
remember
thinking
that.
like Night Gallery or maybe one of the Roald Dahl.
Yeah, and of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Aren't they?
That's
making,
that's exactly what it's all about.
and Motel Hell. So so there, I think this goes all the way back to Sinclair Lewis's The Jungle, where he talked about the meat packing plants and how, if a worker falls into the vat where they're making sausage, he just becomes part of the sausage. And it's just the horrifying idea that we really don't know where our food comes from, especially if it's sausage, which is kind of deliberately meant to be ambiguous.
My dad,
Here we go.
Yikes.
as an engineer, when we lived in Cedar Falls, Iowa, there was some meat packing plants in Waterloo. And my dad was an engineer for a pump company that made product for them. And he's over there. And he came home one night and said, if you ever saw what they put in a hot dog, you'd never eat one again. He said, they're literally like shoveling the stuff off the floor. Now this is 60 years ago, so it may not be true.
Oh, I'm sure it's way better.
Shoveling this, all the pieces that fall on the floor.
Now it's the meat they trim from the filet mignon. Yeah, but back then,
well, I do remember finding out, it was okay to have so many parts per million rat parts in a hot dog. But
a million's a big number. So
anyway,
it's just
but that's my story.
I just the idea that hot dogs and sausages get the stuff that's like, we just cannot ethically put this into cat food, so we'll make sausage out of it.
Well, can we?
Why does it taste so good though? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe, Doc, is it time for our usual segment?
Oh, let's do it.
Okie dokie. It is now time for Taglines with Chad.
Woohoo, everybody.
Indeed.
Oh, how I've missed this.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay.
Now, I want you to know, I did not translate anything off a foreign poster, so these are just all.
These are all U.S. All U.S.
They're all there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of them.
Too many as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Taglines for the Mad Butcher are as follows. Hopefully none of them will repeat themselves.
Good
No
luck.
promises.
Meat is meat, but this sausage is special.
Special.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
They
An
lined up. for it.
insane butcher creates tasty sausage with grisly ingredients.
Grizzly.
Ooh,
Grizzly,
I don't like grizzly
but
sauce.
tasty.
Oh, I eat the gristle. I eat the gristle and the bones. Okay, anyway.
Nah.
After all, meat is meat.
Okay, we're starting to repeat ourselves at number 3. That's not a good sign.
What's the secret ingredient used by the Mad Butcher for his superb sausage? No one will ever know.
Nah,
Mm.
please don't tell us.
Sausage lovers, don't see this movie.
Look away!
Wow.
Look away!
Turn your little heads away.
Boy, I don't know if that's a good marketing. Thank God they didn't say bacon lovers. The place.
I like sausage.
empty.
You like sausage? Yeah. We
Looks
can't
like
go.
Madam Web.
Ruin my Friday night.
Madam Web, stop.
Wait till you learn what mixture of meats go into those incredible sausages.
I
Mm.
wonder. Wow, that really
Mm.
gets my thinking.
till you
pictures.
learn.
Just wait.
The Butcher, an Austrian Sweeney Todd.
Oh well. So that assumes that the audience, the people reading this poster or whatever,
Knew what Sweeney Todd was.
or Austria. Yeah. So that's asking a lot.
Well, when did the Sweeney Todd play start?
Oh, I bet that was around the time. I remember that was advertised on TV constantly. Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, so it's probably was a.
That would have been a good tie-in, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
That's it. That's
folks,
it.
That's it.
That's been Taglines with Chad.
Handsome thing, you.
Oh my
Now
God.
what? I don't know.
All the things I had to say and I held back. All right,
Yep.
let's take a look at a few of the posters before we get into talking about. Well, I mean, what are we going to talk about other than Victor
know what
Buono?
we're
But we got a lot to talk about when we get to Victor Buono.
Let's
But I
just
wanna
end
get-
it here. Let's end it here.
Yeah, no, we got a lot to talk about. But let's look at that. Okay, so I this is the meat is meat version, and I love the frog face at the top. It's
Yeah.
it's
I don't understand this. Meat is meat. To me, is a vastly inferior title to the Mad Butcher. The Mad Butcher tells me what it's about, and this poster, it's like, okay, he's a Mad Butcher. He's really looking at those sausages. Wait a minute. I think I understand where we're going here. Meat is meat. That sounds more like a comedy.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Right.
if you really want to promote this as a comedy because, like I said, it's just not that funny.
yeah.
I like the sausage border.
I do like the sausage
I just
border.
noticed that, and that's actually really great. That's
I
actually
do.
pretty good.
I do like the sausage border. It is quite awesome. Let's take a look at the next one here.
This
This
little
is
Harpo Marx brother-in-law.
oh, they had a VHS of it. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a cool cover. I mean, we got some nudity and Victor Buono. Now that looks like a horror movie
Mm-hmm.
where a giant man is grinding up tiny women in a meat grinder. It's like, wow, how does that
Yes.
work?
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's rent the
That's
VHS.
it.
Rent
It
the-
is. That's yeah. It looks like he grabbed somebody from one of those homunculi from
Yeah.
the Bride of Frankenstein and threw him in the.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, no!
Yeah.
That's a big.
Not the
stretch.
little doll ladies, no.
That's a big stretch. Although I was amazed that Victor Buono actually fit in that thing.
Well,
It was
That
bigger
was
than I thought.
hilarious.
that's the story in and of itself. All right, here's the which one is this? This is the Italian version.
I guess.
Yes.
Lo
Strangulatore.
strangulatore di
I-
Vienne.
I love the negative space used for this. It's really nice. And then but the picture is way too serious. I think they're both.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Compared to the other one, the frog.
But the frog face. Oh come on, the frog face wins.
That's
come on.
great. Yeah, come on.
Ribbit. Yeah. And then we have I guess
I assume that's Mexican or Spanish.
yeah, meat is meat again.
Great.
That
Yeah,
works. That
A little
works.
different montage.
Yeah.
No, I
Looks
just
like,
wanna say-
looks like a bunch of stickers stuck
The
on
poster part, 3/4 of this looks fine. And then it's like, what, did you run out of money when you had to actually print a photograph? That looks terrible. That just
Oh,
Just
I want to see
color
a
it in
movie with
black.
that resolution.
oh wow.
So
Is this-
are there any of them that I'm missing there, Jeff, or is that all?
No, I think that's all.
That's it. That's it.
All right. Oh my goodness. But we got okay. So I want to spend some time talking about Victor Buono in this because, as a kid, of course, and Chad, you'll back me up on this. We remember him as King Tut, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And but I do remember him, and in oh my gosh, what is the name of the name of the movie is escaping me all of a sudden. I hate myself. Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, right?
Yes.
Because that's a scary little bit that he does right in there.
Yeah. He wasn't playing a comedy role at all. He's playing
Not at all.
He's Big Daddy. He's the patriarch of this family, a man to be taken seriously, a man of substance. And that shows he had some range, that he could do something like that. I could see him playing a mob godfather or something, he was a big guy, and he definitely could play the comedy part. He could do the weirdo part, and then he could be serious. I loved it. It's very brief in Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, but it's definitely memorable.
Yes. Interesting thing is that he plays Betty Davis's father in the movie, but he was 30 years younger than her.
He did have one of those faces that looked like it hit a certain age and stayed that way.
Yes,
until
it might have
the end.
prematurely, right?
Yeah.
and Chad may have said something about him being on Taxi. He played Reverend Jim's father, Christopher Lloyd's father, and he was actually only 8 months older than Christopher Lloyd at the time he played his father. So that goes to like he was only in his 30s when he made this movie with being Frogman, and but he looked older.
Yeah,
he did. It might have been the thinning hair and all that made him look older.
Oversized, yeah.
I would have never thought he was like 30.
He had that face that makes you say, well, he's got a baby face. He could be virtually any age. It's just that some of these movies he had a baby face because he was practically a baby. He wasn't nearly as old as we were led to believe. But if you have that kind of cherubic quality, that can last your whole life. And it did for him, although his life was way too brief, unfortunately.
Well, he didn't waste much time in his career. So right off the bat, he plays, a lot of guys kind of bounce around playing these sort of anonymous parts, that are uncredited. He was in 2 Westerns, Sugarfoot and Bronco, and played a train passenger and a bartender. And that was it. After that, he got named parts and really started. That was in 1959, 1960. And then he's got, I don't know how many more credits in 1960. I think they went and looked at him and went, this guy's way more valuable than just an anonymous bartender,
Because he got nominated, right, for the role in Hush Hush?
No, for Baby Jane.
For Baby Jane, that came later, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I get those two confused anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was Hush Hush, but Baby Jane, huh?
Yeah, so lots of TV shows and stuff. And then there's that one movie that I have not seen, this The Strangler. Have you guys seen that?
I have not seen The Strangler. I suspect
it actually is rated pretty decent.
Oh, really?
And it's got a 6.6 on IMDb. Now, maybe that's just for Victor Buono.
They're usually pretty harsh, but yeah.
I have seen some of his other movies. I've seen Robin in the Seven Hoods. He plays Sheriff Potts.
Well, he was kind of with those guys too. I mean, where did I see? I Spy.
Yeah.
The Silencers, the Matt Helm movie.
Yes, the Matt Helm movie. Oh my God, I love that. They're bad, but I love them.
Yeah,
love the.
And then The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Girl from U.N.C.L.E., T.H.E. Cat. I mean, he's as great as these TV show characters that are memorable. They stand out even though they have a one-time part.
Was he ever in The Flying Nun? I have this.
Yes.
Okay.
He was Marco in The Flying Nun.
Oh my gosh, I watched that thing.
Did you guys ever see Who's Minding the Mint?
Yes.
He's in that. He's the captain. Isn't he the guy that he's the one that drives the boat under in the sewers, right? Isn't he?
It's been a while since
I've seen it too, but I remember watching that in the 70s.
Here's the thing.
It came out in the 60s.
You got a movie and you have here's a small role, a captain, a bartender, a hitman, a this or that. And you're like, how can we make this memorable? You cast someone like Victor Buono and that's going to be a memorable part of the movie. Whatever else they can say, it's going to be good. And he's just got that quality.
Yeah. And of course, I think we probably all remember him, in the battle beneath the planet apes.
Yeah.
And what's the black and white one? Which one is that? Is that
that's Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. He's playing the piano for Baby Jane.
There's
That's
2 movies.
that is
There's
the
2 movies.
youngest. He's got a full head of hair and just looks like he's 20 years old or something. And then in the bottom must be one of his last ones, The Evil. And not a lot of people have seen The Evil. There's 2 versions of it. I don't know how you can tell them apart. And there's a house.
We did that, right?
Yeah, we did. We covered it. Yeah.
Yes. There's a house and it's haunted. And then in the end, it turns out in the basement, mold. Also hell. And the devil is there. And the devil is Victor Buono. And that's so perfect casting because he's his usual smiley, jovial self. And then he turns. And starts, spitting out, you contemptuous piece of vomit, and just loathing and everything. And he's so good in that kind of role. I mean, even in Baby Jane, there's something off about the guy. He's
like an evil Santa Claus.
Yeah,
an evil Santa Claus, really? Oh my god!
And then King Tut. King Tut was not one of my favorite villains on the Batman TV show, and he was on a lot, especially in the 2nd season. But Bono was fine. Just
Well, he's in another dark comedy, if you will, and I remember seeing this when it came out, but I've not been able to see it since. At least not a good version of it. Arnold it's a
Snakes.
Roddy McDowell, Stella Stevens comedy horror where they. And
Boy,
probably don't know.
Familiar, but
it also has Elsa Lanchester in it and stuff. But anyway, because I'm also a Roddy McDowell fan, so I like watching Roddy McDowell movies, and he's in that. But anyway, keep going.
I'm just curious because this says 10 episodes of Batman, but when you go to Batman, it says he played King Tut 8 times. So I'm missing something here.
What's the other 2? What are the other 2?
Well,
he wasn't.
That's what I'm wondering.
He was in an episode of.
He was uncredited twice.
It's probably like cameos or at the
Previews
end
or
credits.
something,
Yeah. Sometimes they would do that, like coming next week, and they come out and say a little something. He was in an episode of Night Gallery called Customer and Vampire, and he was in the Midnight Visit segment, whichever one that is. Of that. I'd like to see him in the Night Gallery.
A lot of stuff.
That's one thing, the television shows from the 70s, Night Gallery and Night Stalker, Nighttime, Night Wolf. No, I'm just kidding about that.
Just about everything. No, I wonder if he went over because he made another looks like an Italian movie in 1970, which I don't even. It's a Western with Alain Delon. Maybe it's French. Crepa Padron, Crepa Tranquillo. No plot listed.
He also did Boot Hill with Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like he went over there and did like a trio or so mini films. Maybe
that's another reason why some of these actors went and did these films is they got a trip to Europe.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of Wild Wild West, but he was Count Manzeppi. Does anybody hear?
Manzeppi, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was such 42 or 43.
So I gotta watch The Silencers again. Now that I know he's in it, I gotta watch it again. Oh well.
Well. My dad loved those movies.
What the Matt Helm films?
Yeah, the Matt.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah. I was Robin and the Seven Hoods and all the Dean Martin movies.
Well, Dean Martin was
Lewis movies.
Such an important part of TV. The Dean Martin roasts and all that stuff. He was a constant presence. I don't think people today really know that much about him. But yeah, those were something. I can't believe Bono died at 43.
43.
Jeez.
Wow.
82, 1982. Yeah.
Now, the last picture I see of him, where he's playing Jim's dad in Taxi, he looks older than 43, but
well, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it was that hurt him. But yeah, he did great stuff and was just a constant good premise. I remember him on Man from Atlantis. Am I wrong, or was he like a continuing?
Mr. Schubert.
He and Mr. Schubert. Yeah, he was like
he was the arch enemy of the Man from Atlantis.
He appeared in quite a few episodes.
Literally, there's only two things I remember about that show.
Victor
Buono, and there was a monster. Duffy. I'm pretty sure there was a monster that was a two-headed seahorse. Or do I hallucinate that?
It looked like it was made out of paper mache.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
I just remember going to the pool and trying to swim like that.
Oh yeah,
all I did was
back right out. You
about
just
drowned.
You go in place. You don't move at all.
I own the whole series.
Oh, do you really?
Excellent.
I bet you do. I bet you do. And probably the entire comic book series as well.
Yeah, I do.
Oh my god,
he was our Aquaman.
Was there's a show called Super Train? Was that like?
Oh god,
do you guys remember that? He was on that.
Yeah.
It was a takeoff of that Silver Street kind of, I think, wasn't it?
It was like the Love Boat, only it was a train.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And they spent a fortune on it, and it bombed, and I think they fired everybody. Yeah, Super Train was like one of the great disasters.
Wow.
God, I remember because there was that, and there was a movie. It has nothing to do with a train, but Big Bus. I don't know.
Big Bus, yeah.
Stupid movies. But yeah, I just remember he also was a presence because you would see him on like game shows, Tonight Show, and
Merv Griffin or whatever.
Right.
He would come out and he was a funny guy. He was likable. He was just one of those likable personalities. And I wish he'd been around longer.
Yeah.
Did you know he had an album in the 60s called Heavy? Heavy. I'm serious, Heavy! Exclamation point. And he had a special version of Fat Man's Prayer, which sold 60,000 copies the following week.
Gosh.
The week after he played it on the Johnny Carson Tonight Show back in 1962. So I was a young Johnny Carson.
Mm-hmm.
He also did some comedy, like stand-up comedy. I feel like there were albums, or maybe I saw him perform on the talk shows or something. But yeah, and it was jokes about being fat. That's what I remember. That he poked a lot of fun at himself.
I can see that.
Which is another thing, he that was one of the things that was likable about him. I mean, he knew he was fat, and there was no mystery there. But you come out and you take the piss out of everyone. But that was a lot of comedians back then. That was their whole routine. You're Phyllis Diller, and you joke about how ugly you are. It's just a lot of self-depreciating. And then then Don Rickles comes out and does it to you some more. And it probably would not fly today, but it worked back then.
But I just, as a kid, seeing him as King Tut, he just, you knew, yeah. It's really strange, as like a 10-year-old kid, you knew who this guy was.
Yeah. From
his movie and TV. And my dad was like a huge fan of those two Bette Davis movies, which I still think are one movie. And, the head rolling down the steps. I don't know whose head rolled down the steps.
Oh, I don't remember who. Well, I know. Well, I don't want to give away.
It's not Bruce Dern, is it?
Was
Bruce Dern in one of those movies? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be him, but he's been long gone. That's a good movie, by the way. That's actually a really effective movie. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is more well known, but I think Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte really gets that Southern Gothic thing down to a T. But they're both beautifully shot too. That's a great shot there. That black and white, just does that pop, and just looks so nicely done.
Yeah. Heavy. It's $9.99 on iTunes.
Wow.
He would do some poetry, recite poetry as well.
He was quoted as saying, "Being on Batman allowed me to do something we actors are taught never to do: overact."
Yeah. He looked like he was having fun on Batman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I bet he was having
like that. You
laugh.
just have to. Yeah. He said he was good friends with Adam West too. Yeah.
Oh man. There you go. Well, there's some shots from the movie.
Look at them sausages.
And wasn't that Meat is Meat was the title I think I saw on even though it was
the one we had said Meat is Meat.
Yeah, even though it's The Mad Butcher is the title that you click on, it says Meat is Meat when it comes up. And that's the shot of it there. And then, is that that's the one the brother brings home, right? The girl at the top. or not his brother, but his wife's brother. I guess his brother-in-law,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think
His little Peter Lorre looking brother.
Or is that the one across the street? They all look alike.
yeah, Carl,
Carl.
who was played by Lucas Portelli.
He
I think the woman behind the, I don't know which one. Let's see, Franca. I don't know which one was Berta and which one was Frida. Was Frida the one behind the shades?
I don't know. They should have distinguished the two of them. Both of them were redheads.
Yeah.
And they looked exactly alike.
Right.
And they always did watching effects. I'm like going, I can't tell these people apart.
You're not doing me any favors if you do that in a movie and don't have it very clear which one's Betty and which one's Veronica. Okay.
I'm starting to get in my old age. I'm starting to have trouble with facial recognition.
They take off their glasses, and I'm like, "Who's this new actress? Who's this character that just appeared in the middle of the movie?"
Well, I love the shots when like they'd put on the wife's dress and suddenly they'd look like the wife, and they switch out the actresses. And
he had a little trouble with that.
The
movie, it's got an interesting opening too. It opens with a close up of them cutting up meat with is it a butcher knife or a cleaver? I forget.
Oh, it looked like a rusty.
And then we hear this scream over it.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to a guy in the insane asylum running, screaming how the mad doctor's going to get him. And the orderly's grabbing him and chase him. It happens one more time, but we never know what the hell.
I have no idea what that's about. He's just running down the. But we do know that the mad doctor, the mad butcher, is in the asylum, and he gets a certificate of health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which he throws
sanity, which he hangs on his wall.
He hangs on his wall over his bed, and he later like shoves it in his wife's face and goes, "I'm not crazy. I have a piece of paper that says I'm not. Do you?
You can't steal my shop. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I want one of those for my classroom.
Oh my God! If we were doing a favorite scene, that would have been it, because he would just like, I've got a piece of paper.
My other favorite scene is when the woman that the reporter was after, one of the redheads, and also the one who is always behind the shade, gets fired by the woman of the house because she's an immoral woman doing immoral things. We're not having you in my house, or whatever that is. That was hilarious.
Because of public
out of
display.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Throwing her out
for a public display of affection.
Yeah,
that's all it was for. It's because she smooched the guy out in front of the street, out in front of the house. Wouldn't have any of that. Oh my!
No loose women.
Well, here's the I guess the only other American actor, Brad Harris, who played the I guess he was a writer, right? For the I swear they said
a journalist,
for the Chicago Tribune. I swear that's what they said, but I might have misplaced some stuff. But anyway, I kind of liked him. I mean, I didn't hate him in there. I thought he was actually kind of funny the way he was snarky with some of the others, and the cop that he was friends with too. They're God, you're going to get me in a lot of trouble, friendship kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought, carried the film a bit too. But what's this Fantastic Superman, Jeff?
I have no idea.
No. Oh, yeah. This is one of the things he was in, the 3 Fantastic Supermen. Just more terrible Italian adventure sex comedies or whatever. He was in a few of them there. And the one on the bottom, I swear, is like, was he trying out for Doc Savage?
I was going to say, it looks like he's being Doc Savage down there.
It was, the guy that painted a lot of those Doc Savage novels used models for the work, but he's not one. I don't think he was.
I don't think so.
He's not the guy, but it looks like a Doc Savage. Maybe he was a stuntman for the Ron Ely.
He was, there's a lot of pictures of him on the web, for people who are fans of bodybuilder actors, of which apparently there are a lot of them. And look at those washboard abs. I'm surprised they resisted the urge to have him take his shirt off.
I know. Why didn't they?
Well, he's in a movie with Lou Ferrigno called Magnificent Gladiators.
And Hercules.
Magnificent Gladiators, Fantastic Superman. The thing you could be sure about those movies is that they are neither magnificent nor fantastic.
Right.
Well, he's in the Mutations.
Is he?
Yeah, isn't that the that's the one. Yeah, we covered that.
What was he there? Was he a strong man or something?
He played Donald Pleasance.
He played he played Donald. No, he played a character named Brian. I have no idea. It looks like he's high in the list, so he might have been the male lead.
Okay, I can't even. When was this Three Supermen?
1970. He's Captain Brad Scott.
Oh wow, what a name, Captain Brad Scott.
Janet, where's Janet?
Oh, I see. He's got, yeah.
Where's Janet? Great Scott. Yeah, I love that. Was it Move Over King Kong 007 Bionic Man?
Yeah, move over.
Move over. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Three.
Oh my god, the pictures from this are crazy. We have to do this movie.
What year was it?
1970.
Oh well, there you go.
Oh my god, it looks terrible.
What in the world?
I can't say I've seen it, but I'm gonna go off on a limb here and say it's truly terrible. That it's
there's a bunch of women in a like an army truck wearing like animal skin bikinis, and guys with red berets on and camouflage.
And the three Fantastic Supermen look like kind of like Captain Marvel. They got those capes that are way too short to be of any damn good at all. And,
yeah, or the Great American Hero.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. All right.
He was in the lead in 1968, leading a movie called Kong Island, which has apes in it, but is not about King Kong, and it's Italian.
I wonder. I think I may have seen that under the title King of Kong Island, and if it is, it's terrible. Oh, is it bad? Oh, is it bad?
Oh yeah, it is. It's called. It has another title, King of Kong. Oh. So he's the lead of that.
Oof.
And it's about Eve, was a jungle girl brought up by apes.
Sure, brought up by apes. Yeah.
Yep. Oh my God, we got to do some of these movies.
So he was a stunt coordinator for German-Italian co-production when he went to Europe, and then got a job as second unit director, and then starring role in Goliath Against the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a stuntman all the way up to 87. He was like Jake and the Fat Man.
Kept him in demand during the era of sword and sandal movies.
Oh my gosh.
Then he moved into spaghetti westerns and action movies. Of course.
Yeah,
of course he did.
Got to change with the times.
Oh my God. That's so crazy. I didn't know that. Yeah. We've talked about him already. I've totally forgotten about it. He was in an episode of The Incredible Hulk, Chad.
You really?
Yeah, he played a guy named Jordan in The Minor Problem. I have no idea about which one that is.
All those episodes of The Incredible Hulk.
I know that one. That's the one where David Banner goes into town and there's people that have a problem. And
a minor one.
Yeah. By turning into the Hulk, he solves the problem and then he leaves right before the reporter shows up. It was that one.
That one. And they did the song, right?
Yep. Good episode.
That's exactly, you're right. It's exactly what my dad, when I would watch The Incredible Hulk, and he would go, "Why do you want to watch that crap?" And I was like, "It's the Hulk." He goes, "Same thing happens every week. They beat his ass, and then he turns into the Hulk, and everything's fine by the end."
He was in a movie called Lady Dracula, and he actually co-wrote it.
Oh wow!
And directed by Franz Joseph Gottlieb. I have no idea about
the
this movie.
Muscle Beach Bodybuilding Championship in 2001. He received a Special Achievement Award along with other legends of Hercules. For example, Mickey Hargitay and Peter Lupus. And there's some other names here that I don't recognize.
I think I might be a newfound fan of Brad Harris. I think I want to see more of his stupid movies.
I know we've talked about him before. What movie was it?
The Mutations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, The Mutations. I just totally forgot about it. I mean, I gotta see some of these early movies.
There's another name for The Mutations. What is it?
The Freak Maker.
The Freak Maker. Yeah. Oh man, but I've got to see the Superman movie, and I want to see the Kong Island. Well, maybe I don't. You said it was really bad.
That's terrible.
Well, I can't see any of these movies being very good.
Even,
no, I don't think they're gonna be good.
Even when I was a kid, look, I knew that these were not real gorillas ever, but I was able to start figuring out. I didn't know. Oh, that's Bob Zamora, and that's whatever. But you started noticing that ape has shown up in a lot of movies, and the guy who plays him knows how to do an ape. And then there were those where they just got a gorilla costume, slapped it on whoever was there, and they were terrible. Well, that's one of those.
I think there are 2 of the 3 Superman movies. There's one from 67 and another from 1970.
Wow.
So we can do 2 of them. 2 of them.
Oh my God. Somebody rein him in.
I'll bet they're the same one with released with
I
different
bet you
titles.
they are.
It might be the same exact one. Yeah.
But they're listed twice. Oh my gosh. The Mystery of the Red Jungle, Mission to Hell. Oh my God. These movies. The Black Panther, Ratana. It happened. Kiss, Kiss, Kill, Kill.
Oh, that's a good name. Kiss, Kiss, Kill, Kill. I think might have been a Franco film.
The Dead Are Countless.
Oh, no, that's poetic.
The 3 Golden Serpents. I mean, some of these titles. All right, enough. I'll shut up. Oh my God. I gotta watch the Superman movies. So here's some other shots. And there's our Twins of Evil. We have no idea which redhead.
I don't know which is which.
And they all
One's a
stuck their tongue out.
prostitute. One's
Yeah, why
one
was
lives
everybody
in
sticking their
Gross
tongue
Valley.
out when they get strangulated?
I
Strangulated
don't
and
know.
populated.
But
People do that.
and that's also, it's hard to differentiate them. They're both redheads. One's
Yeah.
a prostitute, and the other one undresses in front of the window across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah, and then there's his wife and his brother-in-law down in the third picture from the top. And
That brother-in-law was cracking me up.
oh my God, he looks like he smells. It's just
Yeah, he does. He looks like
Well,
he stinks.
He gets fired
Oh,
because
wow.
he's
Yeah.
butchering, and his fingernails are dirty.
Oh well, there you go. I mean, he looks sweaty, right? He always looked kind of sweaty and stinky. But
I like the guy I liked was the little policeman who was
Me
following around,
too.
taking
I like
notes
it,
all the
yeah.
time.
oh yeah, the guy on the street. Yes,
Yeah,
he was always. He never got the right details.
Because the cops in these movies are always useless. Always useless. But these guys ramp it up to 11 by not only being useless, but actually helping consume the dead bodies of these people.
But they all love it. It's like the best sausage ever.
Until they start finding rings and things.
It's that well, he takes the we don't know why, but he takes the one woman and puts her in a hidey hole in the crawl space or something.
underneath the
Ties
butcher
her
block,
up under the counter. And in the meanwhile, he's chopping up Carl and putting them in. And somehow or another, she manages to pull buttons and her jewelry off and throw it into the meat processor.
Yeah.
And then they serve the. I guess is there like a police banquet or something?
Yeah,
they're literally like serving the police, and you see all the police in the background. What's this? And then they, I don't know.
It worked. Her plan worked.
Off the floor. I've never seen police just sweeping up a butcher the ground at the butchers before.
That was a decent fight too, though, with Victor Buono and Brad Davis, right?
Yeah, at the top of the steps. Yeah,
that was a decect fight, throwing each other back and forth against the set, which was obviously, I don't know,
shaking. He'd hit Victor would hit the wall, and the wall looked like it was going to split apart.
The whole thing was getting ready to collapse. It did.
I'm thinking, are they trying to show it's a cheap apartment, or they just couldn't sturdy it up for the shot?
I think the latter is the case.
It was shaking. It was shaking.
And the final shot is it's a great gag, but so poorly done. It's just stupid. Of his feet sticking out of the grinder.
I was like,
they're ending it like that.
I mean, it makes sense,
but
it doesn't work. But all you have to do is bang on it.
Yeah.
I'm tasting a leather component in these sausages.
Oh my god!
Is it a gasoline? Yeah. If you could taste if you find the buttons in the jewelry.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to the clothes and
you gotta think the bones?
Well, I don't think they were in everything else except
and that thing was amazing. You took whole pieces and threw it in the hopper, and then maybe 4 or 5 feet away, it comes out already as cased
and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, I just want to warn you, there were 11 of the 3 Superman movies, so let's not commit to anything because Jeff will have to spend a fortune on DVDs.
There's 11 of them. I guess he was in 2 of them. Oh my god, there's a.
I think they just kept exchanging Superman actors. Just people came put on the red suit and that was it.
It's a big set of them.
Menudo.
Couldn't be capitalizing on Superman the movie.
Not at all.
Nah.
No.
Nah.
And, okay, so Jeff, what was the last gag? The
Oh, well,
was it
yeah. At the end, it says,
Bon appetit.
well, normally I would say bon appetit, but apparently in Italian, it's buon appetito.
Yeah.
But then the zero comes up and adds buono appetito.
Buono appetito. And I totally did not get that joke until you explained it earlier.
Really? Oh
No,
my God.
I don't get things. I don't get things.
But
Why
it's
do people?
it's such
why
a
are you
meta joke,
surprised?
right? It's a meta joke in this silly little movie. They ended
It's
on a
like
meta
Alien
joke.
Nation. It's,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I didn't get that either. There is nothing so obvious that it is not potentially going to go right over my head. Just
All
so
right.
you know,
Well, I think we've had quite a lot of fun with this movie.
more than I thought we would.
Yeah.
And okay, so I would wager that the banter that you have just witnessed is kind of what you're going to get with this movie. It's just kind of silly and all over the place.
Sure, if you watch it with a bunch of friends like us there, but if you're by yourself, don't watch this movie.
Well, maybe.
Take a shot
Maybe.
every time someone.
Yes.
sausage.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah. Every time somebody eats one of the sausages, take a shot. They eat it all the time.
these sausages are so wonderful. Then he
Oh,
goes
my
out to the
God.
park and he's selling them from a stand and they're lining up. And,
Yeah, and he gives them
and then,
to all the
and then he
cops.
cuts
Yeah.
the cost from 6 kronas per pound to 2 kronas per pound.
Three.
Yeah, jeez.
You can't do that.
and
Inflation.
ironically,
Inflation.
human from those who know better than I, humans are not really supposed to taste all that great.
The long pig.
Yeah.
I have no idea. All right. Well, check this movie out. Like Jeff was saying, it is on the Classic Horror Movie channel. Is the only place that we know of that you can see it. So sign up for that. You do have to be a subscriber.
I'll ask
to get
him
it.
if he can move it over to Wicked Horror TV.
Definitely.
Our episode,
Definitely.
so.
But Victor Buono was also a gourmet cook, and that was another thing. He'd go on like these talk shows and show
bet-
gourmet stuff and everything. So maybe he could make human taste good.
I bet he
Probably
knew
all
how. I bet he was actually cutting the meat because he knew how to
Yeah.
freaking cut it. All right, well, check it out and let us know in the comments what you thought of it down below. And speaking of feedback, Jeff, we got some
did know how
feedback.
to sharpen the knife.
He did.
He did. He was very good at that. Well, I tell you what I want to do here.
Tell us. We're here.
Well,
listening.
you want to just wade through all of it or trying to see?
Start at the top and work your way down.
All right. We've got a lot of Jose and then we get into a pretty good mixture. So let's just do it.
Okay.
Episode 122, Jaws 2. Back ahead.
Okay.
Jaws 2.
I love the Jaws movies. All right. Jose says, I've only seen this once on TV, and it could have been too long after it was, not have been, too long after its release theatrically. So maybe 1980. The only part I remember is the scene on Cable Junction where the shark bites the cable and burns up.
That's a good one to remember. It's a good.
That movie. I remember being so pissed off when I saw it, but since then I've come to love it. And did you ever get the Marvel comic, Chad? The Jaws 2 Marvel comic?
The Marvel Super Special.
Yeah. All right. Enough about that. Let's move on. Thanks, Jose.
All right. Episode 131, Gargoyles from Jose, the TV movie. We go to Bill.
Okay. Jose
Oh, no,
says-
wait. No, let's go to Chad. I just
I
saw what
see.
the next one was.
I see.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so 131 Gargoyles.
Yep.
Jose says, I saw this only once on late night TV, probably in the early 80s. I remember,
Hey, didn't you already say that? Kidding.
I remember only fleeting moments, but it has a great reputation for sure.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one. It's one of the
Stan
better.
Winston's first. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the better made for TV horror.
Oh,
movies.
yeah,
Ernie, Ernie Casey.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has
Oh, yeah.
nothing to do with the cartoon series.
Cornell Wild.
Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the
Yep. Yeah, he was.
motorcycle dude? Yeah.
Mhm.
He was. We did
No,
that.
and
Young-looking dude.
Jennifer Salt. Did I get that
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Very
Wow. Good gosh,
good.
Jeff.
Sisters. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. We agree. Episode 133, Shock, which should be Bill's.
Because it's Mario Bava time.
Mario Bob.
Jose says, I've only heard of this one mostly from Phil Hardy's Encyclopedia of Horror, where I remember the still that is prominent on one of the posters and the strange title, Transfer Suspense Hypnos. The hell? I really enjoy Bava's films, so may root around, see if I can find it streaming anywhere. Definitely worth a look. It's really pretty much his last film.
What's the other title again? It's Beyond the Door 2, right?
Yes, there was Beyond the Door 2. And
yes.
Right. So
not behind a green door, Jeff. That's different.
I get those. I got one on the brain.
She came out a different woman.
Dude, she did.
No, if you like that one, then watch Rabid.
Yeah.
Starring Marilyn Chambers. All right, 147, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Stop.
Oh, speaking of Victor Buono.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. Jose says, I can't remember when I first saw this one. Mostly films were in rotation on TV in the late 70s, and I suppose it was then. That is true. That is
Yeah.
true.
CBS, late night movie.
Yes. I watched most of them. I think the only saw two of them actually in the theater. But anyway, when I saw this as an adult, he says, I was really struck by the apocalyptic and violent ending. How this was rated G is beyond me.
Me too.
I really respect Leonard Roseman as a composer as well. Rosenman. And now, Out of Print CD soundtrack was the first I purchased from the Film Score Monthly around 2000. I actually called, and Lucas Kendall answered the phone and seemed surprised I wanted to place an order. Oh my God, that's so funny. Great.
I didn't know anything about that. So they had a mail order screen score thing, like Book of the Month Club or something, or
I don't know.
I looked that up. Film Score Monthly. Oh, that's a magazine, right? Film Score Monthly. Sorry, I'm being dumb.
It's all news to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate
that's
it, Jose. I have to look that up because we like some film scores.
We've got more Planet 8 movies we have to do. So.
Yeah.
Episode 148, Blood on Satan's Claw. Chad.
I've seen this only once on Elvira's Movie Macabre in probably 85 or 86. It was a very dark print and must have been cut to ribbons, and I only remember the devil's skin. That and Elvira mocking one actor's thick accent. Yeah. I see there's a 4K to be released in March 2024.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh.
I didn't like it that much.
No.
I always liked Patrick Weimart too. He had the market cornered on skeezy characters like Marco and the Skull.
The Skull! There's another favorite.
Yeah.
All right.
I wonder if the 4K version will make the climax a little more visible.
No.
I was getting ready for Conan the Barbarian to go live tomorrow and didn't realize that Arrow put out a 4K like January 25th. Like the day we recorded it, I think, or something.
Oh,
or
no.
Maybe the week before.
We get results.
All right. Blood on Satan's Call. Love that. Episode 158, Blood for Dracula. Bill?
Jose says, I found this and Flesh for Frankenstein on Laserdisc together many years ago. I think I mentioned that in the podcast for the other film. There's nothing quite like these films. I haven't seen it years, but it's there on the shelf, giving me the evil eye, demanding that.
Oh my God!
Go on, watch it.
Go on,
You'll love it.
You watch both of them back to back.
Yeah, you'll love it. Well, the Dracula one is the better of the two. But...
Oh, now if it's in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Frankenstein's in 3D.
Frankenstein 3D is pretty funny.
Yeah.
A Boy and His Dog. Jose, where are we at? Doc?
I think it's me.
You missed that one.
I did, so this will be interesting because I won't know what it's about. All right, A Boy and His Dog. Jose says, I saw this one only once. I was probably in middle school in the early 80s, and it was on a late movie. I'd read about the film and knew it was sci-fi and felt it was my duty to watch it since I soaked up everything horror sci-fi. Needless to say, I was completely baffled. I only remember a few scenes, but the weird makeup creeped me out. You may find this astonishing. I sure do, given it was a TV broadcast, but the scene in the hospital with a tube of questionable white substance was actually left in. Even my adolescent mind figured that one out.
Hey, this looks like the same stuff that oh, never mind.
Oh, I really do need to revisit this one. I hope my 50-something brain is a bit more receptive. Hey, we can always hope.
So you did mention the two most important things, Harlan Ellison and L.Q. Jones. So that just makes it, and an early Don Johnson movie that makes it interesting. Anyway,
I like the dog.
the dog. Well, read, and I read this. It doesn't really match the story. The story I thought is just phenomenal, but I gotta like this just for the fact that it's the only way they ever were able to come up with a movie of it. Semi. All right.
Semi.
Episode 164. Invasion of the Bee Girls. I'm going to read this because this was my pick. From Jose. Oh, geez. In the summer of 1992 or 93, a little local theater hosted a revival of insect-based sci-fi and horror films, and sponsored by a place called Fluker Farms that made candy and other products from insects.
Oh.
The films were Mysterious Island from 1960, The Spider by Mr. Big, Bird Eye Gordon from 1958, and the 58 version of The Fly in CinemaScope and 4-track magnetic stereo. And this one, Invasion of the Bee Girls. We had a blast, and yes, I did eat some chocolate-covered crickets. They were good. Reminded me a bit of Nestle's Crunch Bar.
Yeah, I've had those. I've had chocolate-covered ants and chocolate-covered.
That's why Nestle's Crunch Bars are crunchy.
I have too. The university's entomology department sells them, like for a fundraising thing.
Yeah, well, they do a thing here in Raleigh, downtown Raleigh, at the museum. They have like a insect week, and they have like a whole slew of people that do all kinds of like insect foods, and you could go around and get like little. Oh, it's fantastic. We took the kids down when they were younger and dared them to eat the foods, and they did.
Yeah, good for them.
Like sushi. You pick them cricket legs out of your teeth, though.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Where was I? We had a blast. And yes, I did eat some of those. Okay. They were good. Reminded me a bit of Nestle's Crunch Bar. And I think Bill's description is 100% correct.
Now, Bill's totally forgotten what he said, but my guess is I said they tasted like chocolate, because I think crickets taste whatever you slather them in.
They taste just
I
like
wasn't going to say anything, but Doc went there. So
Uh-oh.
my best friend who died 7 years ago was sitting next to me. And in one of the scenes Doc refers to, whispered, "Okay, ladies, 1 to 3, lather yourselves up and start rubbing." I guess it was the
Royal
I'm sure Doc
Kelly
said
sequence.
something.
I'm sure Doc.
Well, in the Invasion, they cover them with that waxy thing.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It was everything I could do not to scream with laughter in the darkened theater, which I guess is what we all wanted to do.
royal jelly.
royal jelly.
Oh, that's right. Well, then there's the Wasp Woman.
Yeah.
Episode 165, Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Ooh,
I
pick
don't
me.
Big Bill.
Jose says, I have only vague memories of this one from my grade school days on Sunday afternoons in Monster Theater. I remember Mechagodzilla's missile fingers and not much else, I'm afraid. I need to see this one again. After all, it's only been 45 years. Yeah, you got to remember Titanosaurus.
Yeah.
But the missile fingers were memorable. I'll give you that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
The ever replenishing.
Oh, yes. Just
Yes.
pops them right out.
And then episode 168, Santo and Blue Demon versus Dracula and the Wolfman.
Doc. Okay, that's me. Jose is back again. He says, El Demonio Azul, the Blue Demon, and El Mascarado.
Mascarado de Plata.
Thank you, the Silver Masked. Classic luchadores, and part of Mexican culture forever. Campeones de Justice means avenging champions.
Oh, and by the way,
which I slaughtered every.
my son
all did.
My son and his son are in Guadalajara, Mexico for a water polo tournament, and they went to a luchador match.
A real luchador
nice.
live.
I can't wait to get a report.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Episode 177, The Legend of Lizzie Borden.
Oh, I saw this when it was first broadcast.
From
I was
Jose.
5, but I remember watching it with my mother. Yeah, Jose again. I remember only 2 specific scenes: when they want her to eat the plate of old rotten food, and the scene where she stands over her mother to kill her. And I seem to recall her mother, to this point cold and unpleasant, smiling at her before she realizes what's happening. I'm writing this during the intro, so it'll be interesting to see if my memory is failing me. That was a creepy film, man.
Sure
Especially,
was.
Yeah, that one, they were always reusing that soup, right?
yeah,
It was like,
yeah,
ugh.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
yeah.
All right. We're moving up here. 178, Creature from Black Lake. Jose. Bill?
Jose says, I've only heard of this film, never seen it. Synapse does some pretty amazing stuff. Their Blu-ray and 4K transfers of Suspiria are 2 of the best looking transfers I own. Just beautiful. The credit sequence of Once Upon a Time in the West is classic. I imagine the Old West was very much like that. Long, long periods of silence and boredom, punctuated by moments of sheer terror.
We must have talked about that.
Oh, I'm sure we did. I love that scene.
But yeah, Creature from Black Lake was the one where we got Blu-rays from the company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very
They were
nicely.
very nice. They were very nice, and that I would highly recommend it. We had a good time with that one. Now we move on to some other listeners. Episode 192, Let's Scare Jessica to Death. And I'm going to read just because it's a little train of thought, if that's okay.
Sure.
From Hot Dog 7591.
Oh,
Let's scare Jessica. Let's scare Jessica. Just watch the places. The cemetery where she rubbed the paper seeing a ghost. The lake. The house of old men and the hearse. The house across the road where she gets out of the hearse and walks up the steps. The old house with her running down the driveway of a now abandoned house. And the house still being lived in where most of the filming took place and is still a beautiful, huge home. So I guess it's a comment about the set.
locations.
So cool. Yes, we did. It's a beautiful movie. 206, The Vampire Lovers from Robert Baker. I don't know where we're at. I think we're at Chad.
Me again? Okay. Robert says, this one is one of my favorites from the 70s when it comes to the Hammer films. As for the opening of the film, the beautiful vampires getting decapitated certainly got my attention, as well as the night, the rising fog, and all those fun gothic elements. Hammer was so good at. I don't think anyone really gets the presence of the man in black other than maybe he is a vampiric voyeur who gets his jollies by watching all the fun Ingrid Pitt is getting up to. Or getting down to.
Nah.
If you are immortal, you got to get your jollies anywhere you can. And I guess since eternity is going to be a long, long time.
Got a lot of jollies going on here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess.
Seriously, though, I think it's a fun movie when all is said and done. I originally saw this on DVD when it was paired with Countess Dracula
Yes.
on those old MGM midnight movies line back in the day, if anybody remembers those. Heck
do.
yeah. Countess would be worth doing because it's a completely different feeling vampire movie to me. Take care and keep well till next time.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Betty.
Nice.
Very good. And by the way, Robert Baker was the one who suggested
Oh,
what
shoot.
was the movie we did with Buddy?
Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse, yes.
Thanks, Rob.
207, Scream and Scream Again from Emulous 79. And I think we're at Bill. right?
Okay. Emulous 79 says, you cover some great films here. I just saw The Psychic, 1977, the other day, or Seven Notes in Black. Atmospheric Fulci.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're saying you watched The Psychic because we covered it, because we did, if you didn't see that. So yeah, we try to find interesting films. Yes, appreciate that. I love these names. Emulous. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool name.
And then Gregory Crosby, Doc.
Gregory
has a comment-
Crosby.
Another comment about Scream and Scream Again.
Yes, Gregory says, I saw this a few years ago on the big screen and at Anthology Film Archives and was completely unprepared for A, the most almost hilarious chase scene, and B,
Almost hilarious.
is the absolute bonkers ending. It's strange to say, but this film almost feels like fanfic written by someone obsessed with Hammer and Amicus horror. That's not too far off. That's not too far off at all.
Actually,
Yeah.
Thank you, Gregory. And then also on Scream and Scream Again, David Qualls. Chad.
Thanks. Yep. David says, I viewed this at a drive-in on first release. As a teenager in 1970, this stunned and entertained to a high degree. The television and radio advertising, plus the print ads in the newspapers, were overwhelming. Don't you just love old print
I
ads?
do. I miss them.
Man.
Sundays, like getting the paper from Dad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I searched for this film for decades, not remembering the title or actors. Then the reissue popped up, and I realized this was it. To the podcasters, it's very satisfying to see true adults presenting. He talking about us?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That must have been the day of all the fart jokes.
Mhm.
Ah!
That's the nicest
Oh,
thing
I
anybody's
appreciate
ever
that.
said to me.
It is. I appreciate that.
P.S.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Gruwelkreten in Dutch is cries of terror or horror. I know I didn't say that right. Gruwelkreten.
I don't even know. That must have been an alternate title, but I'm looking at it now and I don't see it. But okay.
All right.
Gruwelkreten. It sounds like
Appreciate
a
that.
area.
And thanks for calling us adults.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Somebody
I'm
has
gonna
to.
tell I'm going
It's
to
been a
tell my
while.
wife. Yeah.
He don't know
Yeah.
us very well yet.
Yeah. Keep
Told
watching.
me what. Episode 208.
Still not
This is
too late.
awesome. Effects. Renee St. Aubin and Bill, you need to read this because you're
Yes.
Renee's.
Renee St. Aubin says, I came for the review, stayed for the Paul slander. So Paul Cardullo, friend of the show, contributor to Gruesome magazine stuff. This Renee is his lovely sister-in-law.
Oh, okay.
And a movie fanatic in her own right.
And he gave
I have
effects
a few
4 out
things
of
to
5
say
stars.
about Paul myself.
You gave it 4 out of 5, and we.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that
we
I guess was
shot that down, didn't we?
We laughed. We laughed.
You know,
I
don't- I don't think it's slander if it's true.
We were very, but I think
Genius.
Doc made a big point of saying, we love Paul. He's really knowledgeable film guy.
Yeah, Paul's all right.
We believe everything he says.
That must be the slander she spoke of, all the good things
Yeah.
we said.
All right. So
Phil.
Chad, also on effects, and actually this is the last feedback for today.
Wow.
Henry Embleton, I
Henri.
think. 846.
Anyway, Henry says, this is my first time watching on YouTube, and it's great to see you guys. I've been listening to all of the H&R and DOH from the very beginning. I love the gruesome reviews too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As a huge horror nerd who has no friends into horror, you guys are my horror family and have been for years and years.
Aw,
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
wow. That is
That
so
is
cool.
very nice.
As a huge horror nerd who has no friends, I want to read it again. I'd liked it so much.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
please.
Just kidding. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. You have been there for me through thick and thin and got me through some tough times. From your friend you have never met, Henry. Henry, if I could just say too, before I became part of the Grue Crew and all that kind of stuff, the same thing. I didn't have too many people that I knew at the time into horror and especially talked about it very much. And I came across this podcast or these podcasts and felt the same way. You just feel like you're with your buddies sitting in a room somewhere, just talking about how stupid some movies are and how great others are. And it's just, we still try to give that vibe for everything that every podcast. And And I'm glad you feel that way about it, because it's we love the listeners too, and we love having the interchange with you guys, especially on the feedback and stuff. It's just great. It's great, I think.
Yeah, well,
And I'm sure they agree with me.
I agree.
my experience is exactly the same. When I grew up, it sort of felt like I had to hide that I loved horror movies. It wasn't something my parents liked, and that's too, whatever. That'll give you nightmares. So I love doing this. I love talking to these guys, and I love hearing from the people. It's awesome.
My story is the same, except I wasn't smart enough to hide it, so I got punched a lot.
No.
Anyway. Well, who's laughing now?
We'll punch you for old time's sake. Just
there
so
you go.
It's kind of. Yeah.
You watched what? And then punch him in the shoulder.
Oh, you like Hammer, huh? Bam, 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 bam. Okay.
What's that?
That's not funny, Spike.
Bava, eh?
Yeah, Baba. Yeah, I think Mario Baba's overrated. You take that back. And then I got my ass kicked. But Yeah.
All right, that's it for feedback.
Thanks.
All right.
That's very touching. I'm glad we're here for you.
Well, one of the cool things, like you were talking about, especially Henry was talking about, we occasionally will bring fans on, and I believe is that what we're doing on our next episode, Jeff?
That is what we're doing. We're going to do like sort of a month of listener guests hosts. Right. So,
and another of our feedback mentioned Countess Dracula, and that is the film we're doing on our next episode, as chosen by our guest host, Gregory Crosby.
Yay!
Cool.
Hammer and Ingrid Pitt.
Oh yeah, baby. And this is I do like this one. I like almost all Hammer films.
Oh, it's based on a true story too, so we got a lot to talk about.
True story. Yeah. Well,
true story.
He was going to pick.
It was.
I know it is Elizabeth Bathory, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me if I forget about it, if I get this wrong, but he was going to pick is there a film Daughters of Darkness?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like right same time. Yeah, he said he was going to pick that, but he would probably bore the hell out of us by going on and on about a particular actress in it. So he went with Countess Dracula.
I think I know which one. Yeah. So
we'll have to we got to do that one too.
We'll get to that one.
I'll bet she'll come up. In the
is that Franco?
No, God no.
That's not which one. He did a lot of those kind of Daughters of and Darkness of. And,
yeah.
Okay.
Did he do Jesse James and Frankenstein's daughter?
No, that was William.
Oh no, not that one. Yeah. I'm joking.
Not related to Jethro Bodine.
Yeah, we
just
just did Billy the Kid Meets Dracula or versus Dracula, and so I had to go watch Frankenstein version Jesse James.
All right. Well, with that, that's our show for tonight. Thank you for all the feedback. We love it. And if you want to give us feedback, there's a variety of places you can do it. You can do it right there on the YouTube channel. You can write us. You can go to Gruesome Magazine, and you can do it. Those are the main ways. Or you can become a patron member.
Ooh.
Check that out. All right. Chad, Jeff, and Bill, thank you for joining me. As always, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
It's all Jerry's fault.
Jerry.
As usual.
I'm telling you, but this is phonetically correct.
Jeff. Two F's and Jeff.
Sure.
Don't nobody care about no phonetically correct.
Yeah. G off. All right. With that, let's say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.